Okay, so during our last synchronous time, we saw that there's a shortcut to get the answer of a multiplying fractions problem without having to draw out a picture, right? So I want to really illustrate where that connection is and also talk about another thing we have to do after we just multiply fractions. So up on top, you see the problem 2/3 times 1/4. But it's really important that you train your brain that what this really says is 2/3 of 1/4. With that 2/3 meaning that's the part of 1/4 that I want. So when we've been practicing this, we have looked at a visual. So this is 1/4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to know what 2/3 of this is. So to find that, again, I ignore everything that's not colored in. Let's try that again with potentially a bigger one. I ignore everything that's not colored in. There we go. And I need to cut that into thirds. I need to cut it into thirds because that's the denominator. So I'm going to cut it into thirds. Grab a little bit bigger one. Thirds. And now I need to look at the numerator, which was 2. And I'm going to color in 2 of those. So 1, 2. There it is. And I'm going to only count these 2. I'm going to try to highlight, but I just have a feeling this isn't going to go great. Maybe if I use something like gray, it'll work better. Whoa, that doesn't work well at all. Let's see. White. Even worse. All right. Yellow. All right. Didn't work the way I wanted it to, but you can see it now. Those 2 dark ones. All right, now they're really dark. Maybe even one more time. Right? So those 2 dark ones are 2/3 of the 4th. But the answer is in terms of the whole entire shape. So I bring back the whole shape and I cut the entire shape into equal sized parts. And I can see that it's 4 wide and 3 tall. So that means that there are 12 total parts because 3 times 4 is 12. All right. Then I can look at the piece with the X's. I'm going to zoom in and see that it's 2 tall. So just this little bit is 2 tall and it's 1 wide. So I can just count them, or I could say that's an array of 2 times 1 equals 2. So our answer ends up being 2/12, which I could simplify into 6. Boy, there's a lot of work to do here when I draw the picture, but I'm getting the right answer, so it's worth it. So here's one group, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And because each of those parts or those groups have 2 little parts inside, I can divide by 2, and that's where I get 1/6. Okay, I really like the model of draw it out and find just a small part of that 4th. I really like it. But sometimes you get some fractions that are just kind of crazy to do. So let's look at what it would look like if we decided not to draw a picture. So if we decide not to draw a picture, what I need to do is multiply across. Okay, that's not so bad. 2 times 1 is 2, and 3 times 4 is 12. Boom, I'm done, except I need to simplify. And again, I want you to see where this 2 times 1 is. Here's 2 times 1 across. Here's 2 times 1 on the right and down there on the bottom. Here's 3 times 4 on the left side. And here's 3 times 4 on the right side. So this method isn't just a magic way that works. There's actually a reason why, all right? That part that we colored in yellow is the teeny tiny spot here. This is 2 by 1. The part that's colored in pink, 3 times 4, that's the entire hole. It's now 3 tall and 4 wide. Okay. However, 2/12, this answer right here, is not an acceptable 6th grade answer. We have to be able to simplify. So when we simplify, we're not just going to multiply across and then keep on dividing until we're done. Instead, we are going to look for a numerator and a denominator that have a common factor. So I see 1, 2 for numerators, and I see 3 and 4 for denominators. So the biggest number in this group is 4. That means I'm going to try to divide by the biggest number, 4, then I'm going to try to divide by 3, then I'm going to try to divide by 2, and then I'm going to try to divide by 1. Okay, so in this problem, I'm looking for an orange number and a pink number that I can divide by the same number. But I'm going to start with this big number of 4. I can divide 4 by 4 because 4 times 1 is 4. But 2 divided by 4 is a decimal. 3 divided by 4 is a decimal. And 1 divided by 4 is also a decimal. So that doesn't work. I am looking for numbers that when I divide, I get a whole number answer. I can't divide any of the other numbers, 1, 2, or 3, by 4 and get a whole number answer. So 4 doesn't work. So now I'm going to try to use 3. Well, the only number that I can divide by 3 is 3 itself. If I skip count by 3s, I would say 3, 6, 9, 12. I'm way too big. See how 1, 2, and 4 aren't in the list? That's not going to work. All right. So now let's try the next largest number. The next largest number is 2. Okay? So if I made a list of 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, do you see a pink number and an orange number that are both in this list? I do. Here's the 4, and here's the 2. All right, so that means that I'm going to rewrite this problem. I'm going to rewrite it using the 2 and the 4, but I'm going to write them as times problems. Okay, so here's what I really mean. Instead of writing 2, I'm going to write 2 times 1. And instead of writing 4, I'm going to write 2 times 2. Then I'm going to keep everything else the same. There was a 3 on the bottom, a big times in the middle, and there was a 1 on the top. Now I'm going to cross out. I'm going to get rid of the same number on the top and the bottom, the same factor. I see a 2 on the top. I'm going to cross it out. And I see a 2 on the bottom. I'm going to cross it out. At this point, I now have a 1, a 1, a 2, and a 3 left. Is there another set of numbers, a top and a bottom number, that are divisible by the same number? So the biggest number I could use is 3. But the only number that's divisible by 3 is 3. It doesn't work for 2. 2 divided by 3 gives me 0.6 forever. So that's not going to work. I need to get a whole number answer. So I can't divide by 3. So I'm going to try the next smallest number. That's 2. I can divide 2 by 2, but look at the top. Let me make those just a little bit bigger. If I look at the numerators, the only thing that's left is 1. And 1 divided by 2 is a decimal. So that doesn't work. All right? So the next number left, 3, 2, is 1. And if I divide anything by 1, it's itself. So at this point, I'm done because I don't need to divide by 1. 3 divided by 1 is 3. 2 divided by 1 is 2. Notice how they start and end with the same number. I'm trying to simplify my answer. When I simplify an answer, I take 2/12 and make it become 1/6. That's kind of what we did here. In the original problem, multiplying across, we have 2 times 1 is 2. And we have 3 times 4 is 12. If we look now at what's left, I can see on top, there's 1 times 1, that's 1. And on the bottom, 3 times 2 is 6. Put a fraction bar in between. And there's a whole bunch of writing here. But here's the answer, 1/6. And here's the answer, 1/6. They both got us the correct answer. I like drawing the picture because my brain can make sense of that. When I just do this work on the side, sometimes my brain just goes a little bit wonky and it's not quite sure what's happening. So be really, really careful when we try this method.